to episode 3 of Teapot. I'm so excited to be in here with Makai again. And let's get right into it because we have some really interesting things to talk about today, as you guys heard. So the first thing I want to talk about is, have you heard about this Jay-Z and Kaepernick beef that's happening right now?
No, I don't follow Jay-Z's journey.
Well, so I'm a member of the Beehive. Been a long-time member since like the 90s. And I will say, as a Beehiver, we do protect Mama Beyonce, the queen, but that protection does not extend to Jay-Z. So therefore, when I come at Jay-Z, Beehive, he's not part of the protected class. And he cheated on the queen. Listen, he ain't getting nothing from me. He gets no freebies. So Jay-Z went up there and did some like concert something. I don't know, because I also don't follow his career like that. But he decided he wanted to take jabs at Kaepernick because Kaepernick has started coming up again recently because he's thrown money to help with the Nolan Wells case. I think the funeral. He paid for the funeral or something like that.
Which is also crazy because how can you come for a black icon like Colin Kaepernick? He literally, the kneeing during the national anthem, that was revolutionary when I was in high school. That was like, oh, y'all wanted a twist? Like, sit my ass the fuck down.
I see it as like a microcosm of the giant fight that we're having as a society between like the elite and the activists. I think that Jay-Z represents a part of black culture that is the elite blacks or want to be considered the elite blacks. And I think that Colin Kaepernick represents an activist class of our black community, and they have never gotten along because, in my opinion, I'm gonna talk about it in a second, but in my opinion, it's because too many of the elite class of blacks want to put themselves in some hierarchical system within the black community where they sit at the top and everybody listens to them and they have all this control. An activist seek to break down a hierarchy and bring even all these people of color who got that money and forgot about where they came from, bring them back to where they came from. Exactly. And I think that that's what the fight is that Jay-Z and Kaepernick have always had a fundamental difference in how to do community outreach. But
already am irritated. I just don't. Here's the thing, and we're gonna get into it later. Once you reach a certain status, you have a certain responsibility as a black person. Once you've reached a certain status, you have a responsibility to your community to be a role model, to be a I'll quote Dominique Morgan. She says possibility model, which I actually really like. A possibility model, like you serve as representation for something greater than yourself. And so when all I'm gonna say is coons irritate me. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know. I'm not naming names, but coons irritate me. And it's like, once you get to a certain level, once you get to a certain point and a certain status, like it's tacky. It's corny. It's not tea. Like, why are you? Why I could say so much that is maybe not going to be the most productive in this conversation, but it really irks me. So for me, Colin Kaepernick is someone who also Colin gets it on all sides. Colin is getting it from the white man, from sports fans, from all the people who shit on black people for being black. Like, we don't need our own people. Like, it's a no for me. Did you find your stuff, P-Jay?
I found a video. I think I'm just gonna look up the actual quote, freestyle quote, and it was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy.
Because that's just wild to me. Like, how are you gonna? Especially, there's been a real. Go ahead.
So he said about Colin Kaepernick. He said, and I quote, "They run out of characters. Had to bring back up Cap again. Buddy took a check. I ain't even mad at him. But along with that check, you have to sign a non-disparagement. I'm the one they can't control."
Wow. Sorry, I'm just gagging.
He also had something that he had to say about the Target boycott that we did. And what he started it off with that. And what he said was, "They say I sold out. Yeah, I did sell out. 3 nights, I sold Yankee Stadium the hell out. and then continued saying, you shopping at Amazon or you boycotting, you posting on Instagram, that's meta, boy, stop it.
What? Okay. I mean, I get what he's saying. I can like look, this is I think part of a larger conversation about like the picking and choosing of the boycotting. Like, okay, yeah, we can say boycott Target, but we still shop on we actually let me wake this the fuck up. I don't shop at Amazon. I don't shop at Target. That is not my tea. I am very much a thrifter. I am very much a local business diva. That is me. But I do understand the like irritation that comes with like the picking and choosing, and sometimes I think people like to be selective about that irritation of the oh well I'm still gonna shop at Amazon because you still use Meta, so I'm still gonna use Amazon. And it's like harm reduction, diva, but that's a whole.
I find the conversation to be reductive. I feel like we're in a situation in our country where things have monopolies. And so it is hard to find different places. And if you're in certain neighborhoods, it can be more expensive to go out and spend that extra money. And if you're already in a position where you don't have a lot of money to be spending in general, spend a little extra on something local when you can get it off of online. It just doesn't give you a good incentive structure. I'm somebody who does use Amazon, but I don't use Amazon, if that makes sense. Let me clarify. When I need like furniture and things like that I don't have the capability to drive over, and I don't, being safe now in this particular political climate, I try not to go outside unless I have to. And under circumstances like that, with those particular things, then I will order those off of Amazon. I will, unless I can find them on like I've gotten stuff off of Wayfair before, to avoid it. But I will do things like that through Amazon that I that going to a store and trying to find is either hard to do or it doesn't feel safe for me to do that. But I wish, instead of complaining about how people are still shopping at Target and Amazon, I wish that these Black leaders that we've given our Black dollars to and elevated through our Black communities would put that money back in our communities to create our own grocery stores, to create our own online Amazon type gig, and to challenge that in a way. And the fact that they'd rather stand up there and bitch at us about how we choose to protest with what little power that we have, when they're sitting here as one of the richest people on this planet, Jay-Z, one of the richest Black men on this planet, Jay-Z, and I haven't seen what has Jay-Z really done for the Black community recently? And I'm not saying that to be rude. I just mean like
they gonna eat you up, girl. They gonna eat you up.
Eat me up, but answer the fucking question. What has he done for the Black community recently except for get Black people to sing at the damn halftime show?
Clip it. You're not wrong though. I mean, look, like, I cannot name you one thing, unfortunately.
and I just, that's all I've seen him do. He tried to do like the challenge to Spotify, which ended up being a mess and created drama between the people. Tide, that's what it was called, which ended up being a mess, got sued, and ended up having to give a lot of people some money back. Oh, wow. But Jay-Z, listen, Jay-Z is hush for like 90% of the year, and he only really wakes up around football time and when he has a gig that somebody gave him because they decided they like his music. And I don't mind Jay-Z's music, but let's call it for what it is. Jay-Z is not this Black community leader that he wants to be. He's let me not say that word. He's a man with money who now sees himself as a position of higher than everybody else. And unlike Kaepernick, is unwilling to put his career and his self online to support the very community that helped him get there. He'd rather make diss tracks telling us that we're not shit and that he's better than us and he worked hard and we didn't do shit while gathering up our Black money and going against our Black community leaders who are actually out there doing the work and putting themselves, their body on the line. I want to talk about some things because I did look it up.
Okay.
I did look up what Jay-Z has done versus what Kaepernick has done for the Black community, to be fair.
Get the receipt.
So here's a couple of things that Jay-Z has done. He works with the NFL and he produces the halftime show.
A historically racist institute. Oh, continue.
And then he also has the Sean Carter Foundation that works on criminal justice reform.
Okay.
Those are the only two things I could find. When it comes to Kaepernick, and I try to keep it fair, I chose a couple of things as well. So it's like he knelt against police brutality at the expense of his job. and he has this Know Your Rights camp for higher education, self-empowerment, and legal rights instructions.
Okay.
Those are specifically within communities. So for me, when you're talking about visibility, I can see, like, I see Rock Nation as a brand that you sell to Black people so that they can wear your logo, but I don't see an investment in Black communities to get those other people who started where you started to get their come up and be able to take care of themselves and take care of their families and even have a chance at supporting their dreams. So when you sit up there and you lecture us about how we choose to protest the things that are happening to us while you don't sit in community with us, and while quite frankly you don't give the money, you don't enrich the community, and you don't really do very much for us except you don't go up on public and say things against like queer people and other poor people. I'm sorry, but there needs to be more. I think we need to hold all of our Black community leaders to a higher standard. We gave them this money. We gave them this visibility. They are up there on our backs. So the fact that they're up there and they want to bitch at us and do holier than thou nonsense towards us, that's our fault because we allowed them to do that.
Now,
we set up how we're treated. We create the boundaries. We create the permission structure for how the people that we give money to treat us. And people like him, he's not the only one. He's just getting it right now. There are other leaders that we have in our community right now who have done the same thing, who've gotten a little bit of money, gotten a little bit of fame, gotten to a particular bourgeois class, and immediately turns around and says, fuck them. I don't owe them nothing. And that's why celebrity, I think, is a problem.
Here's what. First of all, we said we were not going to get political on this podcast. We said it, PJ. We said it, and you know what? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I think this is political. This isn't about Republican or Democrat. This is about what's happening in our community. Ain't nobody care about that politics shit. I'm saying this man is standing in front of us and trying to be a Black leader for us, and yet he consistently turns around.
Now hold on. Here's what I think, because this is an interesting conversation. Do we actually think that Jay-Z wants to be a Black political figure for us, or is he doing it for the money? Because I would argue that like has like Jay-Z, and I'm not the Jay-Z expert, but from the mythos of Jay-Z, and I think that's sometimes more important than the reality of Jay-Z sometimes. But in the mythos of Jay-Z, you know, he was this grungy underground rapper doing the thing that like nobody else was doing, coming up in an era with Kanye and all these other rappers who weren't doing it like Jay-Z, and his flow was something that really got him his notoriety. So like he started off doing it for the culture and doing it for the love of the game, and then like you said, he got to a certain level and it just kind of became more about the clout chasing and writing the check and shitting on, you know, people who are not as fortunate or not as lucky to have kind of made it to the mainstream. And so I think my question to you is like, at what point does something change? Like, you know, I think of like a T.S. Madison, who is, you know, mainstream in a sense and is like a part of the culture, you know, is doing things for the culture. And I watch her podcast, and it seems to me in the mythos of T.S. Madison, it seems like she wants to give back and she wants to feed the community. So at what, you know, But there's also the kind of white gaze and the way that like you have to placate the white gaze in order to maintain your status in the mainstream. So I'm curious about like where that line is. Like, who are some celebrities maybe that like do a good job of you know, I think of Jennifer Lewis maybe as like a mainstream person who
I
maintains
think of
her
like
activism.
And to be fair, or to directly respond to that, you can do things for the white gaze, but does that mean you put down Black people in the process of doing that? I think, I made this criticism a couple episodes ago, but I'll say it again. If you have to put down a community of people to get your comeuppance or to feel like you have to stay in your spot, do you really do you deserve to be in that spot? So when I think about Black people who I think are doing things for the community that I think are good, I think that we have to talk about like a 50 Cent. Now, 50 Cent is clearly a conservative. We know he's a conservative. We don't expect 50 Cent to vote the correct way anytime. He has clearly said many times that he cares about the money more than any of us. He has made that completely clear. That being said, he takes his Black money, he creates or helps with a network that does Black media. He hires Black actors. He elevates these Black actors. The ones who get canceled or fallen on hard times, if he hears about it, he hits them up and he gets them in their stuff. I think of Power. He highlights the hypocrisy from our community in his particular class as it pertains to what happened with like the Diddy situation. And he would be someone who I consider to be a good example of giving back to the community, even though I don't agree with his political voting, right? I would say another
that's very mature of you, P-Jay. That's very mature. You've grown a lot.
I mean, I think the same thing about Ice Cube. You know, a lot of people got mad at him because he went up to Donald Trump, and now we're talking about slightly politics, but this is the truth. Because he went up to Donald Trump and he suggested that plan. And I was critical of it at the time too, but at the same time, like, at least he was doing something. He saw the way the tides were going, and he tried to get in there early to try to do something for us. Did it ultimately end up working? No. But, you know, these are people who I see trying. I think of Taraji P. Henson, who consistently goes out there and spreads messages and does a lot of outreach. I think of Tracy Ellis Ross as well.
Yeah.
So I think that Jennifer Hudson is another one. Like, there are plenty, but yeah, Jay-Z, this wasn't it. And as a fan of yours, kind of, like, this wasn't it. This wasn't it.
Yeah, I think, and this is the last thing I want to say on it. I do think, like you said earlier, it is like a class issue, right? Like, I think Jay-Z, as a Black person who is a billionaire, is out of touch with the Black people who are not billionaires and who are living in America right now, in this country day to day, like, literally, you know, talking about like not going outside because it's not safe. Like, Jay-Z's not worried about his day-to-day, you know, interactions with white supremacy. Jay-Z is worried about how he's going to get his next check. And sometimes it's doing a freestyle about someone who, I mean, literally he's at a football game trash talking Colin Kaepernick. Like, what are we doing? But, you know, they eat that up. They're like, see, and they give him his check.
And you know, he's rich. He makes his money. He takes care of his children. So all power to you. Like, that's all you really need in this life, I guess.
But we have a little bit of time before we take a break. Why don't we talk about the KJ thing that you wanted to talk about?
Ooh, absolutely. So anybody who knows me knows, giant Riverdale fan. Yes, I am. Specifically, it's for Cole Sprouse. Cole Sprouse is my unofficial husband. My partner knows that is my hall pass. He does. I've followed his career since he was on Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, which isn't weird because he's only 1 year older than me. So we are the same age. Him and his brother. So his brother, Dylan, I guess either has a podcast or was on a podcast. It's called Wild Men Podcast, and they brought on KJ Apa, who played Archie in Riverdale. If you don't know what Riverdale is, it's basically like the Archie comics brought to life and given like a horror thriller spin, if you will. And it's very adult. I enjoyed it for what it was.
I love Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf was like my jam. So I'm not judging. I don't watch Riverdale, but I'm not judging.
I have to defend myself because there was definitely a time, and I know the time and the seasons weren't good where people were like, Riverdale sucks. And there were a few seasons where, yeah. But if you watch that last season, it was okay. But anyway, they brought on the lead. And he got into a conversation about his struggle with like addiction and bulimia and things like that. And one of the things he talked about is they were talking about Cole Sprouse, and they were talking about how he likes to fight. I think that's funny. I have a friend who went to college at the same time that both the Sprouse brothers were there. And he did say that most people did not like interacting with Cole because Cole was rude and Cole did like to fight. So that does track from what I've heard.
Wow.
But he was KJ was talking about how, because he and Cole are really close, and he was talking about how he had relapsed. And so he was back on drugs and doing things. And they were at the club, and he was talking about how Cole found out that he was back on drugs, and he punched him. He gave him like a wake-up punch, and then he like ran off. And that really kind of was eye-opening to him. So
Where,
my question
where, okay, no,
Hmm?
okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
My question for you is, have you ever had to intervene in your friend's like destructive behavior, and how did it go?
Girl, oh, girl. Girl. First of all, I want to know, where was the punch? Was it a gut punch? Was it a punch in the face?
In the face. It was in
Oh
the face.
yeah, he meant it.
They did say it wasn't like a with a shoulder punch. They did say it was like a which is how I punch. So like I was like, hey, we're artistic types. Like that's not what we're not.
Wow.
Like,
LOL. Yes, to answer your question, I am very often the voice of reason. And if you're watching this, my friends out there, you know, let's wake this up. I I am the kind of person who likes to sit back and watch, and I will give advice. Like, I will send you, if you tell me your problems in the comments below, send a DM, tell me your problems. I will give you advice. Like, my advice is always rooted in positivity, in love, in care. Like, I want you to be the best version of yourself. I might sit on the sideline and laugh. I might encourage some messiness. Like I'm trying to think of a
we know that
situation.
about
I'm trying to think of a situation like I can't think of one off the top of my head, but like sometimes, okay, this is one that's coming to my mind. Sorry if you're listening to this. One of my friends, I won't name names, one of my friends basically was like messing around with this straight guy. And I was like, he basically explained that he
you.
basically was like out and about. He was out like drinking one night, and then was like on the way home. It was dark. It was late. It was like a later interaction in the evening. And this guy, he was just like, this guy was hot sitting on his balcony, and he like called up to this guy like, hey, do you want a piece of this? To this literally just like out
Really?
in this, yes, just like out in this is like back home, not in Chicago. So he like called up and was like, hey, like, you want some of this? And the guy was like, huh? And he was like, do you want some of this? And there was like somebody on the like level below the guy he was screaming up to that was looking at him crazy. And so the guy on the top of the balcony was like, what? No, like, what the fuck? Like, da 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 da. But like was trying to like whisper down his number to my friend. Long story short, they ended up linking up, and
Of
my
course
friend,
they did.
of course they did. And my friend was like, you know, I'm starting to initiate, like, we're getting into a situationship, we're hooking up more. He was just on my, like, this is, you know, like days later, he's like, oh, he's back on my phone, blah 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 blah, we're trying to link up again. And I was like, listen, Diva, you know, I love that you're fulfilling this like fantasy of getting with a straight guy, but it's dangerous. You know, we talked about it a couple episodes ago. DL men, they can be dangerous, and if you continue down this road, don't be mad when it blows up in your face. Lo and behold, it blew up in his face. The girlfriend found out, was on his phone, was on my friend's phone, trying to figure it out. It was
Girlfriend? He had a girlfriend?
yes.
Oh Lord.
Yes, Messiana Dupree de Balenciaga. It was just not. It was not it.
Like telling y'all to leave these straight boys alone.
Leave these straight boys alone. Okay, thank you. We should take a break.
I was gonna.
Oh,
am also one of those people who. Did you hang up?
No, you just cut out there for a second. You cut out.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm definitely. I understand that. I'm one of those. I always say if you want advice from me, like don't come for me advice if you don't want to hear the truth, and if you don't want your feelings hurt. I'm nobody's yes person. I will always give you what I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, and I'm not going to coddle your feelings. I'm not going to say it in a kind way. I'm going to say it in a loving way to help you. And if that means you cuss me out in the moment, or you scream, or you get mad at me for a week or two, okay, go ahead, get it out your system. But when you bring your ass back, I expect us to not have this issue again.
Yeah, heavy on that. Once I give the advice, that's it. Like, don't.
And if you're gonna keep doing it, don't ask me for advice the first time, because I don't like re-giving the same advice.
Oh, if you're just heavy on that. Okay. Before we keep going, PJ, we gotta take a break. We'll be right back.